basically, Rongoā Māori is all of our Indigenous Māori practices that whakapapa to this whenua, and they're ancient practices, they're thousands of years old. And we've been using rongoā all that time to maintain not only individual well-being, but also the well-being of our community, our communities here in Aotearoa as well. Unfortunately, Rongoā Māori has experienced suppression and oppression for the last 150 years. So the good news is Rongoā Māori is now making a comeback. And a lot of that is due to the hard work that ACC has done in the last 3 years. I'm also on the advisory panel to ACC, helping them to shape and implement the Rongoā Māori policy moving forward. So basically, what is Rongoā Māori? All of our traditional practices, as I've said before. There are 3 main components, but not restricted to these 3 main aspects of Rongoā Māori. I really don't like to break it down because it can tend to fragment the work that we do. And Rongoā Māori, we like to talk about Rongoā Māori in the holistic sense. So the first aspect is rongoā rākau, which is the plant medicine or the plant therapies, whether it's ingested therapies, whether they're applied to the body, therapies like poultice, so that's rongoā rākau. Donna Kerridge is one of the foremost authorities on rongoā rākau in the country right now. Miri and romi is what I specialise in, which is the physical therapy, the physical body work and the healing work that we do. So that's what I specialise in. That's what we specialise in here at Manawa Ora. And then there's also the mahia wairua, the spiritual aspect, the spiritual work that is also done under Rongoā Māori. So it's important to understand that some practitioners specialise in each aspect, and for others it's a combination of 2 or 3 or even more things that come into their practice. So it's going to look very different depending on who you talk to, who you're engaging with, and where you go in the country as well. All rohe will have their different, there is wide variety, wide variation wherever you go throughout the country. So it is mātauranga tuku iho, that is knowledge that is passed down through the generations. And many people like myself traditionally would have learned in their communities, in their whānau, with people in their whānau, or for myself, a lot of that was mentoring through other people in different settings, different environments over the years. It's not a one size fits all. There is no set pathway to becoming a practitioner as well. So that's really important to understand that Rongoā Māori has its own mana as a standalone treatment and practice. And there's a lot of misconceptions that we deal with on a daily basis as well. So as I've just explained basically what Rongoā Māori is, it's important to understand what it isn't to help you get that that better understanding of Rongoā Māori and to correct the misconceptions that are out there right now. That's been a lot of the work that we often have to do as kaitiaki of Rongoā Māori, as practitioners of Rongoā Māori. It's explaining what it is, but also correcting, busting myths out there about Rongoā Māori as well. So the first thing is, it's not just plant or herbal medicine. It's not just another service. What we do, miri and romi particularly, is not just massage. A lot of people think of miri and they think of massage, but actually miri is way more than that. It's not a menu of separate activities that you can choose from either. It's not a nice kind of, I'd like to have it a nice well-being treat that we give ourselves either. This is healing practice. And probably the most important thing is that we don't think of it as alternative or complementary medicine or therapies either. Rongoā Māori is not alternative to anything. It is standalone and it carries its own mana. So the first thing is that Rongoā Māori works, and we know this because we're seeing it every day, nera. We're seeing our whānau coming through, often they're at the end of they're desperate to try something, to find something that's working for them. They've tried lots of mainstream modalities, and we had an example of a wahine who accessed our service. She had a knee injury that was going on for 2 years. She's hobbling around on crutches for 2 years. She came to us for 3 sessions of miri. Went back to her surgeon, and her surgeon was like, what's happened here? There's no longer impingement in your knee. We can take you off the waiting list for knee surgery. So one instance of where we have saved the mainstream health system, I don't know how much a knee surgery is, like 30K with 3 hours treatment. And we have many examples of that happening, not only physical injury, but anxiety, depression, you know, mental, emotional distress. We are getting whānau off that roundabout and back into the driver's seat where they're starting to take control. So that's the first thing. It works for our whānau. No mind trying to figure out how. Just take our word. This is working for our whānau. It really does work, and it's been working for thousands of years before colonization. This was what we used to keep ourselves and our communities well. The second thing is there's currently a lack of trust in mainstream health system. So a lot of our whānau are turning away, or they're not engaging with. Why? Because they don't feel safe. They don't feel seen. They don't feel heard. So what's the point of them engaging in a system where they, you know, there's issues of cultural safety. They're not feeling like there's their spiritual, you know, the te taha wairua isn't being acknowledged. They're not feeling like culturally it's a safe place to engage. So there's no way that you can help someone who is closed off, who is not open to engaging. And so many people, when they come to us, to our whare hauora, they always say, man, I feel safe in this space. Safe how? Safe to be Māori. And there's not many spaces out there where people can be safe to be who they are. So once we have that hononga, then it's much easier to work on someone. They're going to listen to us, they're going to take our advice, and they're going to respond and be responsive to the treatment that we're doing in our whare. And the third goal that's really important is that our goal is to empower people, right? So it goes against our tikanga to create dependency. We're actually not allowed to do that as rongoā practitioners. We are not allowed to create dependency. If people keep coming back again and again and they're not getting better, then we take a good hard look at ourselves and say, what are we doing wrong? Or what are we not seeing here that needs to be addressed? So our job as rongoā practitioners is not just to get them well, but it's rangatiratanga. Get them back in the driver's seat, get them back reclaiming their mana, back in the driver's seat and taking control of their well-being and their life from then on, not just their own well-being, but that of their whānau. Our health system needs to respond to the needs and aspirations of Māori. And if there are PHOs or other organisations out there that are looking to partner with rongoā Māori practitioners or organisations, my advice would be to do exactly that, partner with them, meet with rongoā practitioners wherever they are, allow them to practice where, how they choose to practice, and allow rongoā practitioners to lead out. The last thing we want to do is for our practice to try and assimilate our practice into your organisation or your Western philosophy of what health and well-being means to you. Actually, we have our own tikanga, our own mātauranga, and just a mihi to Carrie. I mean, we have an amazing partnership where she actually allows us to do that. She allows Manawa Ora. We just do what we do, and she does what she does. And when I need help with logistics, or I need support with networks, or how do we do this, you know, she gives us that support. So it's a very good partnership, and it's a very easy partnership. That's the other thing. If it gets too hard and it gets too difficult, well, it ain't working. And you need to have a kōrero and have a hui about how we can reduce the barriers so that our whānau can access it. At the end of the day, this is what we're all looking for. How do we make this more accessible to our whānau, get past all the politics and all the logistics and all the red tape, and just make it happen? So kia ora.